Questions?
Like that, Chris, have you had some kind of meetings of the mind with the property owner across the street at the recycling center? The whole eminent domain thought concerns me, and it really disturbs me, being that we're dealing with a private development. And odds are we're not talking eminent domain. Odds are you'll have a cooperative landowner that'll say, hey, it makes a lot of sense. And quite frankly, it does make a lot of sense. I mean, who wouldn't want a stoplight right in front of their property? But on the other hand, if you have an uncooperative property owner, we're gonna basically kind of tie your hands with approvals with Knox County. It has to do with your building permit. We want you to be aware of that. But most importantly, it could be something that it could get drug out for quite a few years. Now, odds are the county could come in, take it via eminent domain, and deal with the lawsuits later. But I'd really like to avoid that. There's no doubt this is the best scenario for you guys to have Kingston Pike access, and it resolves some other issues. But back to my first question, do you have some cooperation from the property owner across the road?
We have not approached them. Quite honestly, the way the county looked at this particular situation was that they didn't feel, based on Wilbur Smith's traffic impact study, that this was something that was warranted for fixing. What they said was that because this development was going in, it was a very good opportunity, knowing what was going to happen down the road, to correct something that may not have an opportunity to be corrected later, I think is the way they approached it. Knox County, matter of fact, I was in a meeting today with Dwight Vandevate, who's the highway director for Knox County. He had folks that they hired to actually go out and approach property owners to talk to them about buying property. So all of that has been talked about, has not yet been put in motion. I am actually going to be contracting with Wilbur Smith & Associates to design Farlow and the red light as a part of the overall road improvements to the project. That's something that we committed to do, even though Knox County said that ultimately they didn't think it was something that they would hold up this project over. So I think we have, as Jeff Rutter stated, I think we've put our best foot forward and decided to take on some extra work that we didn't feel that we ultimately had to do, but certainly this project would affect that road and those residents. So all I can tell you is that you're right, that eminent domain or condemnation, or however you want to put it, is probably not the best road to go. That is commercial property along Kingston Pike, I'm assuming. So if somebody got a red light on Kingston Pike, I'm a developer. I think you guys are in that business. I think somebody probably would appreciate a new lit intersection on their property. But as far as I understand, Knox County is going to bear the burden of acquiring the right-of-way, deal with utility districts, and I am going to, or the Schott family is going to help chip in with the design and to try to get that resolved. And I think everyone, I know everyone's committed to do what they've agreed to do. And as Ruth stated, it may not necessarily be done right when that part of it gets done for money allocation and et cetera, but we definitely are committed to doing the design very quickly. I talked to representatives from Wilbur Smith today. They thought they could have the design for the whole entire project done in a couple of weeks. So we will hear very quickly that there's some movement with the property owners in getting that resolved. You know, certainly we will be keeping town staff up to date with how that's going, and we did understand that design part needed to be a part of the approval process for the building permit. So I'm with you. I would certainly hope that wouldn't get in the way of this nice project, but we're committed to help their problem.
Spent a lot of time trying to determine this particular location. This has been the real problematic. Matter of fact, I think there's been maybe 4 or 5 different proposals for this, and there's no doubt this is the best solution. It's just that we just hate to have, if you have one individual that says, no, I don't want to be part of it. I hate taking somebody else's property if they don't want to cooperate. There's no doubt it would improve the value of his property, but nevertheless, that's really not for us to decide good, bad, or indifferent. Tom?
Let me make a clarification. Eddie Bales, who has that recycle center, does not own that. He leases that property, so that he is not the property owner. But I don't know what the terms of his lease are.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a yearly lease or what it is. But
It'd be great getting in and out of the recycling center. We go to the recycling center. It sure would make it a lot easier getting in and out there, and
Well,
probably
but
clean
the
the whole
road
area up.
But if the road is realigned, that might take quite a bit of where that lease would be. It might help the property owner because they're further back, but I'm not sure if it would help Eddie. He might have to relocate.
True, but there's no doubt it would help the residents back behind the
absolutely.
Korean church and
Yeah,
all that, be able to get in and out of on Kingston Pike.
It is the ideal solution for that part of Kingston Pike.
Any more questions? Do I have a motion?
Move for approval of the variance.
Oh,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll
Is that
second.
Ed? and Ron?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, now we're to the site plan part. We finished all the variances, is that correct?
As Tom Rosseel had pointed out, it was recently determined that the B1 district is actually 100 feet rather than 50 feet in width. And rather than redesigning the site to accommodate this requirement, the Powell Acre residents are agreeable to a rezoning with a reduction in the B1 width, provided private restriction agreement is entered into with the town and the property owner, developer of Costco site, and Powell Acres, requiring that the wet weather conveyance be revegetated and repaired, actually repaired and revegetated. The repair or revegetation of the wet weather conveyance located at the west property line of the site, constructing a keystone retaining wall versus the gabion basket retaining wall, adding landscaping that meets the buffer strip requirements between the top of the retaining wall and the driveway, and increasing the stormwater detention to accommodate the 200-year storm. At your places in the staff recommendation, there is a list of items that are outstanding, including memorandum from John Sexton to Cindy Pianchi with Knox County Engineering and Public Works. And so I don't know if you want to take a few moments and probably review those so that you have an opportunity to take to look at those. Many of the comments really are just, here, add this little detail of information, add this detail of information. We are aware, number 2 states that submit letters verifying there are no jurisdictional wetlands on the site. We do know that determination has been made. We're just waiting for the letters. They're also waiting for the letters. So when they get the letters, they will be giving us copies, but we do need that written verification of that. One of the things that TDOT, when we had the staff developer meeting in June, actually it was on May 31st, but it was for the, that was when the first submittal came in for the Costco site plans. TDOT representatives and Knox County representatives were there at the meeting, and if you look in your packet and you review the May 26th and then the July 1st meeting, you'll see the evolution of the comments from there. But one of the things that TDOT required is part of what they stated as part of getting a permit to their state road. They're going to require a pork chop. It's a little island, and to prevent left turns out of the existing Walgreens entrance on Kingston Pike. Now, if you've been out there, you know it functions that way already. Because if you do turn left, I'm not really sure what death wish you have, but apparently you have one. But anyway, that actually is TDOT's issue. Number 7's comment is, if TDOT requires this as part of getting your permit, that the pork chop accommodate a pedestrian cross-through, similar to what we did when we redid the Campbell Station Road High School entrance. That works very well. You've got part of the raised, and you got the little pedestrian crossing, so that if TDOT does require the pork chop, that there be a pedestrian accommodation through that. And let's see here, the number 16 clarifies the comment, because this again was brought to our attention last week with regards to the wet weather conveyance. TDEC, Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, has determined that that is a wet weather conveyance. That is different than an intermittent stream, so there are different rules whenever it is a wet weather conveyance versus a stream. Army Corps of Engineers apparently has stated it's a intermittent stream. However, it is TDOT that regulates, so we're going to let them deal with TDOT and TDEC and the conflict, but our rules come from TDEC with regards to that. So rework, grade, and revegetate the wet weather conveyance along the western property line. This shall be in conjunction with town staff and adjacent property owners so as to save existing mature vegetation, and then submitting details on this, and then as part of the landscape plan, submit a replanting plan for this area. We're not looking for a track hoe going through there and ripping everything out. We are looking for, as Jason Scott, our stormwater coordinator, calls it, gentle reworking. That's smaller equipment that's basically just trying to rework it, being able to get there to be positive flow, work it up. If you've been up in there, some of you may be familiar with it. It is scoured, and right now it's hard clay in places where nothing would grow. It'd be trying to get something to grow on this table. So that is our intent. We don't want to imply that we're looking at just a massive regrading of it and ignoring the vegetation that's there by any stretch of the imagination.
May I ask a question and just a point of clarity to make sure I understand this correctly?